You can move it. Good morning. Welcome to Let's Get Growing. Beautiful spring day outside today, finally. We haven't had many of these yet, but it's going to give us a chance to have a look at our big paniculata hydrangea. This is a planting of three, actually. Even with all the new introductions, probably one of the best uh, introductions in the last few years for sure. It's really an outstanding hydrangea. It does get big, so you need to be aware that Limelight is going to be a big one. There are smaller cultivars available. Little Lime is sort of a dwarf version of this. And if you watch the garden centers this year, you're going to start seeing all kinds of really compact, even ground cover type uh, hydrangea paniculatas. They're one of the easiest ones to deal with. Certainly one of the easiest ones to grow. They'll grow in semi-shade. They'll grow in full sun. Once they get established, they're quite drought tolerant and really easy going. We were just talking about this before we started, and I think these have been planted. I'm going to say about 6 or 7 years, and have actually never been pruned, short of nipping off the old flowers. Now, with our spring the way it's been going, Mother Nature has taken most of the flowers off for us. And you can see these short stems here. There's a little bit of a dead bit there. Those were flower heads. And every one of these little tips had a flower head on it. You can see a few at the back here. It's a couple at front still going. And if you wanted to maintain this in this size, that's really all you need to really worry about too much, is taking off the old flowers if Mother Nature doesn't do it for you. Very simply, the flowers were here. You go back to a bud and just take it off above. With that type of pruning of the hydrangea, you will see that your yearly growth is basically these short stems here. That's about what you get in a season if you don't do anything to it. So they're great that way. They're a really low maintenance shrub that way. And really, like I say, Mother Nature took off 99% of the last year's flower heads off for us. And you could just leave it alone. But we have an issue here in this situation where we have a planting of three. They're doing great. But we've got this guy back here is getting a bit too tall. We need visibility from this window. So we're going to look at reducing this one here, maybe reducing back a little bit of this big one. Also, it's coming out really far out the front now, and it's going to impede with the grasses and the peonies and daylilies and things that are right in front. So we'll probably remove some of this front growth as well. So we'll do that first. For basic pruning, when we're looking at a shrub like this, it's going to bloom on new growth, so we don't need to be too concerned about where we prune it at this time of the year. But to get it back to some size, I think what I'm going to do is just go in and simply find a spot where these long stems meet another stem, and they can be reduced in size that way. So just to give an idea here, if I want to reduce it in this way and not just shear it off, if I follow this, you know what, I'm going to go with this stem here first. So I'm going to go right back to where it connects to the main trunk, take it right off, and I've removed 3 to 4 feet, and you can't even tell. So what I'm going to do then is going to come over to another, and I think I might have to switch to my lopping shears because they're pretty sturdy stems, so we'll shift to the loppers. We'll get in. We're going to do the same thing over here, but I think I'm going to go back a little further. If I just take out this first bit, we're not going to reduce much in width. So I'm going to take actually this whole section. I'm going to take it right out. So we're going to go back down into the stem, and just above a branch there, we're going to take out a big chunk. That's actually reduced it back now from where these other clumps of perennials are by plenty. But this one still needs to go. I cut one off, but it wasn't enough. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the same kind of prune. I'm going to take it right back. And when you do it this way, what you end up with is a fairly natural looking shrub still. If you just took it and sheared it, you would have a mess of things. But what we're going to do, we're going to take some of these small twiggy ones back now too, because we can do sort of the same thing. They're going to reduce these in size, but we're also going to keep the shape of the plant. So we reduce that. We got some broken twigs here. Always look around for broken twigs. They should be removed. Things that are later on, we'll get rid of those too. And I think that's starting to give us back a bit of that shape that we want. I actually might, again, just to bring the plant back in shape. Now, one thing, new pruning that's very heavy, you're going to encourage some really, really vigorous shoots to happen. Now, they do this on their own a little bit. You can see one right here that came up just straight off of an older stem. When we cut back like this onto these older stems, we're going to encourage a lot of that to happen. So we can take this one out and get rid of it right now. I'm going to leave a little bit there so we can branch. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to watch out for these shoots as they grow after you prune them, because they will grow extremely vigorously, 5-6 feet long easily in one season, and sort of negate all the pruning that you did. Now, we're going to come back into this one in the shade here, because this is the one that needs a lot of work. I might actually have to come back to this one to get a bit more visibility from this window. Also, some of its branches are all the way over here. So I think I'm going to go one of the first ones we're going to take out. We're going to follow this branch all the way back to where it comes from. And where it comes from is the other side of that shrub. So we're going to go all the way back. See if I can get in there. My tricky. I'm going to go all the way in. We're going to get rid of this branch really low. It's actually blocking a big part of what we need to do, what we're trying to achieve here. So I'll pull it out. Look at that. And here's one of those sprouts that I was talking about. This one just did it on its own. Hydrangeas will do it on their own, but pruning is going to encourage a lot of these things. Really long, straight, extremely fast-growing stems. So you need to watch for those in the summer and prune them back as they grow. So we don't need to worry too much about the outward growth because there's no other plants until here, but we'll tidy it up a little bit. I'm kind of okay with these ones. But I want to show you something interesting too about this plant. We're situated on a north-facing wall. These two here are going to get sun when it comes over this building, and they're going to get a fair bit of sun later in the afternoon. This one here, tucked away between these two big cedars, get very little direct sun on it, and a much more diminished bloom, and a much more open growth habit because they're in the shade. Hydrangeas are shade tolerant, but they don't love it necessarily. It's not the best situation for them. You can get too much shade, and then you have no flowers and very long, stringy, spindly growth. So we're going to reduce this one down, and I'm gonna be pretty drastic with this one because we need to get rid of a lot of this height. In well into the middle of the plant and take edges. I'm definitely not going to hurt the plant. I am absolutely going to make this thing grow like crazy by doing this, but basis. And that's the thing with shrubs. We always have this tendency to let them grow, let them grow, let them grow. And then when they get too big, we start dealing with it. What we should be doing is every year doing a bit of pruning so we don't run into problems down the road that take a lot of work to fix. So if I get back in here, I'm going to take another one of those suckers off. And then I'm going to start coming now, pruning it at the height I